And the four outdoorsmen in out of the rain tonight for another podcast.
Three outdoorsmen in the wild card.
Yeah, and the wild card.
Yeah,
the wild card.
I just like to golf and swim and make love. That's my life.
One of these days, we're going to have to get you out hunting. We did this week.
That's right.
Welcome to AliveAndSocial.com. Spread the word, the four outdoorsmen.
iTunes as well.
iTunes as well. We have a Facebook page, right, Boom?
Yep, Facebook.com. According to Stu, the reason I'm on the show, /The Four Outdoorsmen. And you can listen to us on www.the4outdoorsmen with number4.com.
And a Twitter handle at The Four Outdoorsmen.
Now, hang on a second. I'm very impressed with you and Boomer because Boomer did not say www.
No,
he said
W.
www. That was good, Boomer.
www.
That was close enough.
I worked on it.
In broadcasting school, we had like a nun that would crack you across the knuckles if you didn't get the www.
www.
How did you survive
www.
broadcasting school with a nun next to you?
Did
she throw holy water on you every day?
She did. I nailed her. I never actually finished broadcasting school. I remember that broadcasting
You
school.
slept your way through college?
One of our locals. No, I got tossed out of college, and then I decided to go to broadcasting school and didn't finish. But they called me in years later and asked me if I'd come back and speak to the class. And I said I got thrown out of broadcasting school. And they said, "Oh, okay. Well, you want a diploma?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. No, thanks."
An honorary degree?
Yeah, you don't want an honorary degree? Come on.
Got
Did
a
you ever
job.
have any interaction with a nun?
No, I was raised on the Methodist out in the middle of South Dakota. So I've heard stories. Does Halloween count?
No, it does not.
Okay.
No, it
Then
does
no,
not.
I have not.
Is there a story for you?
I went to. Well, there's always a
got
bunch
none.
of stories. I went to a Catholic grade school for 8 years, St. Casper
Yeah.
Grade School, east side of St. Paul, and honest to God, I always thought this is true. Now, this is not me, the wild card, just saying something stupid, although it is stupid. I always thought that nuns had their boobs cut off. And I don't know why. You just couldn't see them under that big hammock thing they were wearing, whatever you call it.
They sheared those off. They were.
That's an interesting statement.
No, I'm not. I was a little kid. I was a little kid.
Yeah, they pioneered the sports bra look, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Four Outdoorsmen. You're
Right.
Alive
Nun
and
talk.
Social, your show to talk about hunting and fishing. But before we get to that, let's talk about the Great Northern Sex Cast.
That's what I would do, yeah.
Speaking of
Longtime
nuns.
radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and pal, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino present the Great Northern Sex Cast. This show This show talks about all things sex. Grab your headphones and learn everything you always wanted to know about sex and intimacy, but were afraid to ask.
Grab my headphones, you say.
Yes.
Okay.
Quickly. To hear the latest episode or catch up on what you've missed, visit aliveandsocial.com.
You know, Diana caught me listening to that a couple of days ago, and I felt dirty.
But
I
feel
enjoyed,
like you were cheating
I
on
enjoyed it.
Diana?
I'm telling you, I learned something that we're going to try, I think. And it's very informative. It's educational. It's a little racy, but it's a lot of fun. If you get a chance, you got nothing going on. If you're at the office or in the studio on the computer, yeah,
in the
turn it on.
office.
I think you'll kind of enjoy
Human
it.
resources would love that.
It's educational. Trust me. Liveandsocial.com. Just like the Four Outdoorsmen. Zeb, how was your week, buddy?
I had a good week. We even managed to get outdoors. You know that. You were
got
there
it.
with me. We'll be talking to Craig Munson tonight.
Yep, I lost $5.
Thank you guys for bringing my dad. Wanted to say that on air. That was amazing for
Absolutely.
you guys to do that.
We'll talk about that when we get to Craig.
Yeah.
But we had Vaughn out in Papa Boomer out in the Sherman tank doing some upland hunting, bird hunting up at
It's
Wing
a really cool deal, and good for Craig Munson as well. We'll tell you about how he came from where he came and where he is today. He's very blessed, and he knows that. So we'll give him 10 or 15 minutes to BS about the Wild Wings, where they took us out, and in that machine that your old man went with us.
Yeah.
And he got himself a bird. It's kind of a cool day for us. And
Yeah, really was. Our big guy over there, the producer, Mark Lukey, had a little wildlife.
I did. I just got back from Las Vegas with the KQ Morning Show.
How was
and,
hunting?
It was a little slow.
Did you meet any nuns?
No.
Well, they're not in
You
Estrus
don't.
right now.
No, I had a great
You
time.
didn't use a
I,
buck bomb?
He met a nun.
hey, play that crying thing. Why don't you just tell
Yeah,
me?
no
Yeah,
kidding,
yeah,
no
yeah.
kidding.
All right, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of the game War that you play when you're 5 years old?
With the deck of cards?
Yep, with the deck of cards. So I lost all week at blackjack. Had $50 to my name and an hour left to go before my flight.
Yeah.
I put it down on War. I didn't even know they played the game. About an hour later, I'm up $1,000 cash and went home.
This guy, that happened. Myself and my buddy Jake were walking out of Vegas, defeated and hung to the gills. I mean, Vegas got us good. You know, high and low. And we're just leaving with our tail between our legs and our pockets literally turned out. And he had a dollar coin on him, silver dollar, that he had won a little bit earlier. And that's all he had. And as he was going out, he dropped it in the slot machine and kept walking. We took about 4 more steps before we heard the ding, 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 and everything falling out. He won $800.
Nice.
On the way to the airport. That son of a...
Wow.
Yeah, it happens.
I think there's a reason you won that money right before you were getting on a plane.
I think so too. God knows that I don't need $1,000 in cash on day one of Vegas because
Right?
it would have got pretty.
I always give myself an allowance when I go to Vegas, a very modest allowance. And I remember my buddy was on the following flight.
Yeah.
So I got there, it was one of those bachelor party deals, and we all booked our own flights. And I got there only about an hour ahead of him. I'll wait for you at the airport, and we'll cab over to wherever we're Tropicana together. And in that hour I was at the airport, I lost my entire Vegas allowance gambling. So, yeah. No, I'm not a good gambler.
I was up at Fortune Bay Casino years ago. Every year we go deer hunting in Fortune Bays and Tower Sedan, and we'd go up there and stop at Fortune Bay when gambling was a big deal and the casinos were fairly new. And it was me and Bruce Bernard, one of the guys I talked about my little 3-minute deal last week. Rick Lonsman, the same guys I always hunted with.
Yep.
And Bruce Bernard was like Ziggy. Everything always went wrong with this guy. I've told you, he's the guy that blew up my stove in my hunting shack. That's the story I'll tell you next time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great story. So we're playing blackjack. If I lose $50, I'm done, So if I win some money, great, it's entertainment. If I lose, it's $50, not a big deal. So I'm down about $30, $40, and Bruce is there, and he's playing $5 a hand. He gets a pair of eights. Gets he might have been playing $10 a hand. Gets 2 more eights. Now he's got $40 out there. He's got to go down for doubles about 3 times. He's got $80 out there.
Bam, baby.
And the dealer's got a 6 up. It's a piece of cake. This is a $100 deal in a flash, right?
Yep. Right.
The dealer hits it must have been an ace, 16 or whatever it is, and gets a 3 or a 4 for a 21. And Bruce throws his cards on the table and says, with the F word loud, blank, just blank. And all the dealers stop dealing, and everyone's looking at him like E.F. Hutton spoke. I'll tell you, they just kind of escorted Bruce Bernard out of the casino. It was funny but scary at the same time. His eyes got big. Boy, I tell you, he's not a good loser. But I got a lot of stories about Bruce Bernard, but I get scared. I'll play $5 a hand.
Yeah.
But if I pray to God I don't get an ace. You want an ace? I don't want to go down for doubles. But,
not to get too boring, but I got pretty excited this weekend because I thought with the weather's maybe getting up into the 50s this week.
Beautiful
and
weekend.
I thought, God, so I went outside and I took the Alumacraft T Pro out and
boy.
I cleaned it all up, and I have my favorite case of jigs, right? There's like 8 or 9 jigs that I absolutely adore. They are the go-to ones. I want to thank Larson's Quality Jigs for doing it. And I went out there and I couldn't find that case anywhere in the Alumacraft Tournament Pro. I turned it upside down.
There's too much storage in that boat.
Well, you know what? It's a user error because after I had dropped maybe some similar words like E.F. Hutton had spoke for, like your buddy, got all the way done, they were inside.
Inside the house.
Yes,
Yeah.
inside the house in the nightstand next to my bed.
That's funny.
Because
Yeah.
I was
Why
probably
do you keep your
fantasizing.
lures in bed?
I guess I just really love to fish that much. But let me just thank again the folks at Alumacraft in St. Peter for sponsoring our show. They've been with us for a couple years. The new catalog is out there for Alumacraft. You can order it at www.alumacraft.com or visit your favorite Alumacraft dealer. They have a new model out this year called the Edge, which is kind of a crossover boat for family and friends. It's got the ski pole in the back, the 4 speakers, plenty of storage space. It's a really cool boat if you're looking for something like a crossover, or you can always check out the new Tournament Pro that's going to maybe have some changes in colors, which I'm in there in a picture, Strew, so
right.
I'm going to get you one, and
I'm ready.
it's fun for you. But
I'm ready.
again, I want to thank Alumacraft, and if you want to learn more about Alumacraft, visit www.alumacraft.com or visit your Alumacraft dealer.
That's really well done. My highlight of the week. Thanks a lot for doing that, Boomer. I had a couple of things. Number one, spending time with Zepp and Craig Munson and Boomer's dad at Wild Wings. That was a great day. But remember, now, I took my wife out to Ruth's Chris last week. I kept that mode going, and I went to the Nickel Joint on Friday. That's in Frog. And then I went to had dinner there. Then went to a Legion Club in North St. Paul on Saturday. It was big time for Strewman and his wife, Diana. In addition to that, Saturday afternoon, I took 2 of my grandkids with Diana and my daughter-in-law, Sarah, and went to watch the women Gopher hockey team play. And if you haven't seen it, you've got to do it. It's really, really, really good hockey. And these girls are so fast. They beat... what the hell is it up there? Bemidji, 8-3. And a girl named Hannah Brandt from North St. Paul is a senior. She scored 5 goals. She broke the record, all-time scoring record for the University of Minnesota women's hockey. I don't know how many points she's got. It was just the neatest thing. And then after the game, this is one time a year, the little kids get a chance to skate on the ice with the women hockey players, and they're there, and without their gear on and without their helmets on, they look like 15-year-old girls. But watch them when they're skating with their gear on and how hard they shoot that puck and how good they are, it's fun to watch. So It was a great experience. So if you haven't had a chance to support the women's Gopher hockey, do it.
A quick shout-out to that, my old area and all our listeners out in St. Michael, Albertville. The St. Michael, Albertville are the high school football champs.
Wow.
That little small town up there beat the
right.
St. Thomas Cadets.
Yep.
The old alma
We used to
mater,
call
Wolsey
them.
High, back
Yeah.
in South Dakota, of which I think when I was there, we lost 3 state championships in a row. The Buffalo Bills of South Dakota, we won the state championship.
Wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
2 teams, 3 teams in the state.
There's 6 now. It's actually the most competitive because it's the opposite of Minnesota. The big schools, there's 8. There's 8 big schools. You can literally have a 1-8 season and make the playoffs. The smaller schools, the ones I played for, there's 66
yeah.
with 1 champion. 8 schools, 66. There you go, big
There you
shot.
go. There you
exactly.
go.
So
By
Zephyr-
far the most competitive.
Was this 9-man or did you play 11-man?
a 9-man?
9-man?
Yeah,
I
but-
think that'd be a lot more fun to watch. More passing?
No, practically none.
Really?
Yeah, no, our coach didn't even put in a passing play. Literally did not put in a passing play. But but the pussies pass. NFL passes. Okay.
okay.
Men play football. They
Running
keep it on the
gun,
ground.
Rudy.
Exactly. This passing and
4 yards in a cloud of dust.
that's honestly when I quit watching football when they started passing.
Hey, speaking of passing, we haven't talked
so
about who are
1975.
Yeah. I haven't watched a game since '75.
Zepp or Strew. Who do we got on the show tonight? I know we talked about the trip with Craig Munson. What else do we got cooking?
Mr.
That's
Muskie?
about it, I think.
No, Mr. Muskie guy. We got you talking about something. Going to talk about
I did
Devil's
just shower.
Lake.
Devil's
North
Lake
Dakota.
tourism.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll tell you what, because we'll talk to Tanner about this as well.
The
But
show about half over now.
yeah, it's about half over. December 16th or so, we're going up to Devil's
Yeah.
Lake. There's not going to be the ice.
Zepper, are you coming?
I thought we talked about that this weekend.
There's no ice up there.
There will be.
I don't think so.
Or
That's
we're
only-
going to move it out.
Yeah, that's only 3
I
weeks.
talked to Tanner about that. And we got the world record muskie, right?
Yeah.
The guy
Who's
who
fir-
caught that
who's
fly
first?
fishing.
Fly fishing world record muskie. Tentatively, it hasn't been verified yet. I think he was lying.
You know what? He
But
caught
that's-
that on Mille Lacs, right?
I really did the interview earlier today. He couldn't come on with us tonight. I would have loved you guys to have talked to this guy, Robert Hawkins. He has just a great story about how he got here, not a native Minnesotan, and kind of following this dream and a fly fishing nut job like the rest of us are for our outdoor stuff. I suddenly forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, he's going to be on. But I wish you guys would have had a chance to talk to him. Oh. Is it playing right now? Oh.
Oh, not yet. No. We'll see. We may or may not pursue it, but yeah.
May or may not pursue it. I'm talking with Bob Mitchell Fly Shop.
Yep. That's
City's here for about 38 years now, and I've had it for the last 3 of those 38 years.
Are the bills paid? You doing okay?
Doing good out here, yeah, yep.
Oh, this has certainly got to help for exposure and little publicity. Robert, you were up on Lake Mille Lacs. Which day was it?
It was a week ago yesterday. So.
And I know that you fly fishermen not go out for everything, probably fly fish for whales out in the Pacific. But everybody was a little bit surprised, and even I was, that you could catch such a big fish fly fishing. Tell us about the rig you use for fly, because you were targeting muskie that day.
Exactly, yep. So we're just throwing, big, the same stuff you'd throw for tarpon down in the in saltwater in Florida. Or, the one thing with muskies is tarpon don't eat great big flies. Muskies, we throw these, foot-long flies, so kind of even have to have a little bit heavier setup to throw those big flies out, because the flies are virtually weightless. You couldn't really throw them on just a standard rod. So with these, we're throwing what's called a sinking tip line. So it's about 30 feet of sink tip, and it sinks the fly down about 4 or 5 feet.
Right, and then you pull it up and out. And do muskies, a lot like if you're doing a figure eight and just using a traditional muskie rod, do they tend to hit closer to the boat?
It's same in the gear and the fly world. They'll either, they'll follow it just as much up to the boat on a fly rod as they will on gear. Tons of fish that a few of my buddies, well, not tons, but a few of my buddies have caught on fly rods have been figure 8 fish. And yeah, they'll follow it right up to the boat just like a cowgirl or something.
Here's a little bit of audio from you and the guys in the boat at the moment.
Come on, big girl, you know you want to come out. You know you want to come out and play.
Got her. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you see the head? I don't even want to look at the bag. Oh my God, Robert. That is the world record muskie caught on a fly ever. By a mile.
A lifetime of memories right there. Robert Hawkins, owner of Bob Mitchell Fly Shop in Lake Elmo, and his buddies out on Mille Lacs with a potential world record muskie. So talk about that day and nabbing this big muskie. 58 inches, was that right?
57 by 26.5. We've been fishing for about 4 hours. We got on the lake at dark right in the morning, and then probably around 11 I caught it. Just stripping my fly right towards the boat. The giant fish came and ate the fly coming kind of directly at me. And at that point, you have to strip set with a fly rod instead of jerking the rod. You have to pull the line to get the hook set before you raise your rod tip, and got it. And she ran straight to the boat, made a left turn towards the bow, shook her head 4 times, and then in the net, all within about 17 seconds, so it was pretty quick.
Who was your buddy, the net guy in the boat with you?
So that's my good friend Ben Olson. He's been guiding muskies on gear for about 10 years. We became friends in the last couple of years just because he was really excited about fly fishing for muskies, and so we've been fishing together a little bit here and there. And then my other good friend who was running the boat, Gabe Schubert, was up there with me as well, and it was just I couldn't have 2 better people in the boat that day to catch that fish.
Yeah, and right away when you guys got it right up to the boat, I think even before he got it into the net, you guys were freaking out. You knew you had a monster. I think was it Bob that yelled, "I think we got a world record"? Ben Olson. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Ben said it. The world record muskie on fly.
Were you even surprised when you measured it out that it came to nearly 58?
Yeah, when we measured it out, I was guessing mid-50s. And Ben, the reaction I heard from Ben, he'd boated another fish on gear that exact same size back in 2010. And so Ben's seen a whole ton of big muskies up to the boat, and just judging from his reaction before the fish was even in the net, I knew it was absolutely going to be huge, but didn't know it was going to be that huge.
What is the world record?
I don't know with fly fishing. I think it was like 54 or 52.
Oh, you blew it out of the water.
Somewhere right in there.
Why do you say if you pursue it? I mean, it's a world record. You own a fly shop, for crying out loud. Isn't that pretty big bragging rights?
I suppose. I've never been one to, beat my chest around, but...
You're a business owner now, Robert.
Yeah. I think I will probably, there's been talk of, people contacting me and trying to figure out how to go about it. So, yeah, if we'll probably try to go that route if we can.
Got a spot all picked out for it in the store?
Yeah, so we're going to get a replica mount made, and hopefully it'll be in the shop. It might not fit anywhere, though.
Good answer. You're going to have to put on an addition just to get it in there. What's the second biggest muskie you ever caught fly fishing?
So, let's see. In the last 3 years since I moved here, it's really the only fish I've been chasing. I just got really addicted right away. Back in Montana, I used to guide back in Montana, and on my days off out there, all I'd do is go try to chase big brown trout on streamers.
Oh, yeah.
I put 3 years in, probably 110 days on the water so far, and I've boated 8 fish. One was a 40, one was a 44, and about a month and a half ago, I caught a wild native river muskie that was 49 and a half a month and a half ago.
That's pretty impressive. So, I'm notorious for doing my interviews backwards. Robert, where are you from?
I am from Bozeman, Montana.
Outstanding. What the heck are you doing in Lake Elmo, Minnesota?
What everybody wonders.
I'm retiring the other way. I'm going back to Bozeman. So, but you're here. But, well, I mean, is it because of Bob Mitchell's Fly Shop?
Yeah, so the shop was up for sale, and kind of at the same time, my wife and I were thinking about moving for her job, and she'd sent out resumes to 4 big cities, Seattle, Portland, Denver, and here, and she ended up landing a job here at a graphic design agency, and then she came out a month before I did, and then I came out, and then we bought the shop about 9 months later.
Man, again, congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
Work on your bragging a little bit. You're a business owner now, man. It's all
Right.
about, in fact, you're in Minnesota, and we're known for our fishing stories, probably above any other region, man. We love to tell them, and we, more importantly, love to hear about them on the 4 Outdoorsmen.
Awesome.
Now, I imagine this is going to get some people probably already have walked through Bob Mitchell's Fly Shop over there in Lake Elmo and said, hey, I'd like to do some fly fishing muskie. Because here's the thing. Catching a muskie is not the easiest thing in the world. Then you finally catch one on just regular gear, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. But now if you don't go out and get one fly fishing, you're nothing.
Yeah.
I imagine some people have already come through the store wanting to see Robert Hawkins, the man.
Yeah, people come in, and I've already sold all of my bucktail that's been on the wall to tie these flies up with, and they want to come in and see the fly that caught the fish, so that's hanging out here. It's been pretty awesome.
It takes a while to get them out going, but any idea when you might get that bad girl in there?
Hopefully about 1 year from now, it'd be nice to have it here.
So anything you want to plug here for Bob Mitchell's Fly Shop?
Not necessarily, just, check our website. We offer all sorts of classes, fly tying classes, casting lessons, guide services, and stuff like that. So
yeah, much like we've talked about in the 4 Outdoorsmen, kayak fishing is getting really big. I feel like fly fishing is really kind of coming on here in the Midwest.
I kind of call it the freshwater melting pot out here. We've kind of got any kind of fish you could ever want to catch, fly rod or on a gear rod. We've got all the warm water fish, all your cold water fish. It's a neat place.
Well, Robert, on behalf of the 4 Outdoorsmen, Mark Lukey, Boomer, and our wild card, Stru, all the fellas would have loved to have been involved with this interview. But we do thank you for taking some time out of your day. Congrats on the business, BobMitchell'sFlyShop.com over in Lake Elmo. And, of course, on your, I'm just going to call it, the world record muskie on a fly rod.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Wow.
There you go.
There you go.
Wow, that was fun, huh? Wouldn't it be fun to do that? I don't care if it's a fly rod or I don't care what the hell it is, but I'd like to do that. But
I was telling Zepp, I was just amazed. I watched the video, and he's got a fly rod, and this huge muskie hits it, and it looked like he just pulled it in all casual. He didn't fight it for an hour or something.
Maybe it's like illegal golf clubs that those long drive hitting contest guys use. It looked like a special fly rod. It couldn't be just regular fly rod. I don't know what it is.
It was
I can't
obviously
imagine.
a special fly rod, but it was just amazing how he could just manhandle that thing.
I don't remember. What did he actually use for bait? I mean, what kind of presentation did he use? Like
It was in the interview.
Listen on the way home.
I forget what he called bucktail, I believe. But he said,
is it a lighter bucktail though, made for a fly rod? Because those are still fairly heavy.
yeah, you want them to sink. It's a sink. Yeah, they put a sinker on it, the whole thing. They want that thing to go down in there. This isn't they're not catching muskie off the top of the water like you might traditionally fly fish for a trout or a stream fish.
Yeah.
They want that thing to go down in the water. I didn't really notice a big difference or seem to get a big difference. They try to get them into the boat the same way, except that it just seems more awkward. Because you're using instead of a gear reel, spinning reel, you're using, your fly reel, you're pulling it in. So, it made it look pretty effortless and seemed like a pretty cool thing.
Hey, well, our buddy Mark here is calling Craig Munson here soon. We're going to talk about Lakes Trading Company, one of our great sponsors. Thanks for being one of our sponsors. Lakes Trading Company of Forest Lake. They've got new and used firearms, ammunition, accessories, 25-yard shooting range, which I've never done. What can you learn in a 25-yard shooting range?
You learn how to shoot a handgun. I mean, it's you're not going to shoot a handgun at much of a greater range than that anyway, unless you're in some sort of shooting competition. But I don't even shoot at 25 yards. I usually put the the target out there somewhere between 10, 15
Really?
yards. Yeah, somewhere. And it depends on the size of the target you're shooting, how quickly you're shooting, what type of handgun you're shooting. But it's a handgun, so they're not made for great distance.
I think it too. I mean, Zepp and Mark and Stu, I think it's also a great way if you don't get a chance to get out to a range where you need to, sight your rifle in at 100 yards. 25 yards will get you a pretty decent start. I mean, it will get you within 3 to 4 inches, probably depending on the caliber that you're shooting for the gun.
Well, Lakes Trading Company in Forest Lake also has competitive shooting leagues. They've got permit to carry classes. They got all kinds of staff, lots of training out there. And I think what were we talking about last time we had Ben and Joe on there talking about some kind of a 3-gun shooting. What was that?
3-gun competition.
Boy, that sounds like something a lot of fun as well.
Yeah,
Huh?
they have a range, and you go through you're going to go through your handguns. You're going to go through an assault-type rifle, although I don't know. Although I hate using them, calling them assault-type rifles. But your pistol grip rifles, and then a shotgun.
Well, Lakes Trading Company in Forest Lake is a place to go. I'll tell you, go to lakestradingcompany.com. They'll take care of you. They're in Forest Lake just off of Highway 97 and 61, lakestradingcompany.com. I'll tell you what, they're kicking ass in the Twin Cities right now.
Thanks, guys.
You bet.
Friday night's ladies'
You
night.
bet. Oh, that's right, yeah. What do you got there, Mark?
What do you got?
The old phone ringing.
A pair of choppers. I was out chopping wood.
Choppers.
Mark is going to call Craig Munson. He's the guy we used to call the handicapped hunter affectionately, but we don't do that anymore.
Craig, are you there?
Yeah, I just joined you, Steve.
There you go. How you doing, buddy? Craig Munson. Craig Munson is one of our previous guests. Thanks for being on the 4 Outdoorsman. Zepp is here. Boomer's here. Mark Lukey is here. And we want to talk about the great day that we had last Thursday or Friday at Wild Wings with you. Tell us what's new with Craig Munson. Let's start with a couple of years ago. We'll take a couple of minutes doing that. I think you had multiple myeloma. You were having a hard time. Tell me how that's going right now.
Well, so far it's going pretty good. I went through the bone marrow transplant, and I've had now some checkups, and the cancer seems to be in check. And but the good news is that from when I went through the bone marrow transplant, I lost my legs, and then a part of my left side. And the good news, as you could see when we were out in the field together, I'm walking again. So. Very good.
I think you're full of crap. I think you're a hell of an actor looking for pity. About 2 years ago, this guy shows up in a wheelchair and making us feel sorry for him. Yeah. Now he's jogging at Wild Wings, guiding hunters. But
I couldn't keep up.
Yeah,
I'm
proud
of an act, but I wouldn't recommend anyone doing it.
Yeah,
Craig, this is Zepp. Thanks again for having us out there. What a fantastic day and a lot of fun that was. And we'll talk about Vaughn here in just a second. But yeah, I remember when we had you into the studio and you were going through treatment and just looked rough. But a smile on your face and positive attitude. And I think things were starting to turn around for you then. I hadn't seen you since we met up out there at Wings North. And I told him he looked like a frickin' defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings. He's a tall guy. You've got your weight back. You got along great. For anybody that upland bird hunts or just hunts, period, we're out there. We're in the fields. And it's, it's not a walk down a nice paved path. And Craig was just... getting up and down the field and leading the charge, and it was just great out there hunting with you. It's remarkable, your recovery.
Well, thank you. That's why I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. We have a chance to take Vaughn out, and I've had a chance to take a couple other guys out, and to let them experience, to do something that they think that they probably couldn't do, that they can do. With that chair, and it's been really rewarding.
Craig, remind us now, the chair that you're talking about, this motorized chair, was something that you brought up initially when we interviewed you, and that's how this all got started for you. How did you get introduced to, and please, what's the name of it again?
It's the Action Track Chair.
Thank you. And how did you, and so this is the chair now that you're helping people that have a harder time getting around these fields, whether it be age or injury or some sort of disease. But how were you introduced to this chair?
We know it used to guide out at Wild Wings, and some of the members out there.
I'm sorry. By the way, I just want to clarify. I said Wings North a couple of times. I've been up there hunting. You're right. We were at the old man's place, Wild Wings. Thank you for the correction. Okay, go ahead, Craig.
But how I got in the chair is that some of the members, one is John Berthium, took me out there, and the intent was just to show me the chair. Well, one thing led to another. You can show it, but then you want to get into it, and then you want to start it up, and next thing you know, you're
Zep was like that on Thursday or Friday, whatever day it was. He hopped in that little baby, took it for a spin. He was pretty impressed, but keep on going. Sorry.
Yeah, well, so it was through the members that brought me out there, and I believe I was the first person to use the chair since it was donated. And, I had such a good time. It was on a Friday. I came back the next day to another friend and used the chair again. And so I had a chance to use the chair to friends and members out there. And, I just know what it did for me. And my thought was, when I was on your show the last time, I said, if I can get my legs back and if I can get strong again, I'm going to guide again, but I'm going to guide for, people that have some challenges or disability. And, it's been, like I said, really rewarding. And the other part that's really pretty cool about this is people say, how much they appreciate it. Well, my thought is I'd get a bigger smile on the face, and I think some of the people I brought out there, because it's so rewarding to know what it's like to be in the chair and then see someone else back in the chair and enjoying the outdoors.
Craig, I can't speak for Stru, but I was a little nervous. Boomer wasn't there with us. Your father, Vaughn Stelmack, was with us. And I was a little nervous for Vaughn. Now, Vaughn is not disabled by any stretch of the imagination. Like my father, he's getting a little bit older. I'm sure, Mark, like your father, he's getting to that age where, upland bird hunting is a hike. It's, for any one of us, it's a bit of a workout. And so Vaughn decided to come out and be your guest, Craig, at Wings North up there. And Wings North, I said it again, Wild Wings. I'm sorry.
Wild Wings.
I'll get it. I'll get it right when it's too late after the show's over. But Wild Wings up there, and we get Vaughn in it. And I was a little apprehensive for him. I thought, okay, gosh, I hope this goes well. A little nervous. I hope he enjoys himself. I hope he's not self-conscious about it. And it couldn't have gone any better. That electric motor, by the way, so it's one of those super quiet. It doesn't even purr.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's one of those electric. It's a tri-track vehicle. I call them tri-tracks. They've got the 3 wheels on each track over there, so it gets around. I mean, and it can get up and down the hills. It's got some tug to it. Looked like it had plenty of speed. I'm sure. I don't know if Vaughn was mad maxing out on that thing or not with the top speed, but just the smile on his face and being out there. Vaughn said it a couple of times. He could have cared less if he actually shot anything.
Absolutely.
By the way, he did.
And
he got just as many as as the rest of us.
We were tied 1-1. Yeah, and Vaughn got the last bird. Good for him.
And he got the last bird. So, which isn't the easiest thing to do. I mean, first of all, he's learning. Secondly, he's got it sort of, cradled across, and you've got to stop and then get the gun up. So he had an extra step in there. He had an excuse. We didn't.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, if he had never got it, we wanted him to get a shot off. We wanted him to get a crack at a bird, but I don't think he cared at all. Just to be out there and going through that rugged terrain and being there with us was a big joy for him.
Zeb, I would totally agree with you, and I think Vaughn, said it best. Being able to get out there and to do something that he thought he never could do.
That's
okay,
right.
Before. And like you said, it isn't where you need to be handicapped or something. But if your legs are starting to go on you and things like that, it's a great alternative. And I think a little practice in that chair, Vaughn would be a pretty good shot.
Well, there's not a chance in hell that Vaughn could have done that with us. Without that machine, he could not have done it. When he sat in that chair, as soon as he got there, he says, I never thought I'd hunt pheasants again. Go ahead, Boomer.
Well, I tell you what, Craig, it's Boomer, and I just want to first say thanks to Zepp on air, Stru on air, and yourself for inviting my dad out there and the folks that invented the Action Track chair. The first time I saw that was a couple years ago at Game Fair. And I was really impressed with that thing. But I tell you what, it was Dad's birthday yesterday, so I want to wish him a belated happy 73 years young. But
Boomer just bought you an Action Track.
Yes. But the smile on my father's face, we're sitting around there and we're talking about hunting because that's what he wants to talk about at his birthday.
Yep.
And we were talking deer hunting. We were talking some of our favorite stories. And he goes, you know what, though, Boom? One of my favorite stories is going to be this chair. He goes, because he knows, we don't want you find that point where your limitations kind of kick in and you could
And
just
you got to
see,
swallow your pride, and he did, yeah.
And he had a grin from ear to ear when he was talking about pheasant hunting. And, he said the same thing. I could have cared less if I shot a bird, but the way I felt being in the field again made me 73 years young. Yeah. So it's just cool that inventions like this. Craig, can you share with our listeners where they can find out more information about this chair? Can you use your insurance to get it? I mean, that might be a stupid question, but
well, I think Jerry Mankey was the individual that donated it, and I should have probably done more research on it. But the chair was developed, I believe, down in southern Minnesota, and I think if you went online. To look up Action Track chair. You could find information on it. And, the one thing I'd like to do is just, if there are individuals out there that are listening and they know an individual that this would put a smile on their face, by all means, feel free to contact Wild Wings, ask for me. And I'd love to see if I can help them.
You know what? One question I did have for my pops was about, did the chair rock at all when you shot? And he said it was stable.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a great platform. It's a heavy chair.
The Sherman.
Right. I called it the Sherman when I first saw that track vehicle moving there. But because it's a heavy chair and because of that track, I don't want to give it any free plugs, but you'll see some of those track vehicles now. I know we have one out in the farm, the Polaris Ranger, that you can take the wheels off and put the tracks on. And you put those tracks on it, and it's an incredibly stable vehicle because we're going up and down hills, and there's holes out there, right, Craig?
Right, there's holes in it.
Yeah, Craig fell down one time.
I was out for the opener in South Dakota, and a guy stepped in a big old hole, and he face planted. And I went, oh, man, are you okay? And I started walking towards him, and I face planted. I mean, you're just going to find that out there. You're probably better off on a tracked vehicle than you are walking around when it comes through some of those holes. But, yeah, incredibly stable. It's got that electric motor, but it seems it has, the torque that it needs. Now, you're not going to run this thing down through the middle of a cornfield or a sorghum strip, a feed strip or something like that. It's just not designed for that. But for this type of hunting, where you've got some trails, feed strips that we like to cut them in after the harvest gets underway in South Dakota, it's perfect for that, blocking on ends and being able to get around. And like Vaughn said, it was one of those days. Craig's got a couple of wonderful setters out there, a very young Maverick, and is it not me, a Kia?
Kaya and Remington. And,
what did I say, Maverick?
I'm
way off tonight.
Maverick for me.
So we had a pup out. We had a 7-month-old out there, and Kaya,
an 8-year-old,
and an 8-year-old.
Right.
So we had a little bit of each, but just watching the dogs work those fields was a lot of fun. And but yeah, this is a chair that any one of us could jump in and start hunting in and take out to a lot of different terrain.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Even in the rain, right? It just
anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This rain's not going to slow this thing down at all.
Vaughn was aiming for puddles to drive through like a little kid. He was
right. Wild Wings. You'd ask for Craig Munson. I highly encourage you. And Wild Wings. I always think of these hunting preserves and shooting areas are so far out there. You got to drive it. It's just right up there in Hugo.
Yeah, right on 161 and 140th.
61 up to 140th Street. Hang a right. You'll see the sign in a couple of miles. It's right here in the metro. They've got a fantastic setup out there, and they've got smoked pheasant still. Thank you, Craig.
Did you get yours?
What?
Did you get yours?
No. What?
I think I still owe Stu some, but
yeah,
well, that's what he gets for ducking out.
And Brian got some, and that was super. Boomer, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed being out there with your dad, and you can tell Vaughn. I remember the first time I met him when I came into your studio, how he reached out to me and made me feel really comfortable that night, and. Being in a wheelchair, it's a different perspective. And, your dad was special, and so I appreciate the friendship. And I did promise Vaughn we're going to be doing it again. So, Boomer, if you got to keep working, you do that. But me and Vaughn will be out in the field.
I think I'm going to make the field next time with you guys. There's going to be some things so I can do that. But I tell you what, he was really happy, Craig, for you to take him out there, and the smile on my dad's face was pretty amazing to see. So again, thank you to Zepp, Stru, and yourself for getting him out there.
So, Boomer, I got to ask you, what did you ever do with that buffalo skull that you bought at one of the
a fundraiser for
the Outdoors Foundation? Well, that buffalo skull is in the new house that my buddy Stru helped me buy, and I'm still looking for the right place to put it, but it's going to be hung up in the basement somewhere.
Oh, that's
it was a
funny.
little big to put upstairs.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I was at that event, and all of a sudden I seen you guys bidding on that, and it surprised me when you got it, and I thought, what the hell are you going to do with it now?
I thought the same thing after he said I won the bid. I thought, what the hell am I going to do with this? And my dad said, way to go, son.
Hey, Craig, what's next for you? Now, you've gone through a real hard time. You're doing well. I think you're doing as well as you anticipated, more so than you anticipated, and you're very blessed to be able to be where you are. What's next for you? What are your goals in the next year or two?
Well, you know what, Stu, the individual that you had on the last time I was on your radio show, the guy from Wisconsin that does guiding in Alaska.
Yeah, oh yeah, Billy Moles, yeah.
Yep, Billy Moles. He frequents an establishment in Cumberland that I know well called the Corner Bar.
Yep, I know where it is exactly.
Yep, and I do want to reach out to him and meet him and, see a person of my limitations if there's a chance that I could go to Alaska. So that's on my bucket list, and hopefully it'll be with Billy Moles.
Yeah, he's a good man.
I got to believe, especially a caribou hunt would definitely be within your reach. As a guy who's never been to Alaska to hunt anything.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, I'll tell you what I have done is I've watched a lot of the modern day mountain man videos. That's Billy Moles, BillyMolesAdventures.com. And I've watched a lot of those. And, those, I don't know if any one of us here in the room, and I'm looking at you over there, big guy, could do the sheep hunt.
Nope, not a chance.
And a grizzly, you're doing a lot. You're going to cover a lot of ground. But the caribou, yeah, I bet you're going to get up there. I bet we're going to be talking to you about your big Alaska hunt sometime here in the future, Craig.
Well, that's definitely on my list. And then the other thing that really want to keep bringing people out, enjoying that day like we had. And, like I said, I get as much out of it as I think the person that we bring out doing it.
Well, thanks, Craig. You're paying forward your recovery. It's great to see how well that you're doing. Again, anybody out there that wants to, just has some questions, you want to call Wild Wings. That's wildwings.com and ask for Craig Munson Action Track. If you want to go ahead and Google that and check that out a little bit too. We encourage you to get up there. You're not going to have a better day than spending it with Craig and his dogs up at a place like Wild Wings, and that Action Track will get you back out in the action. Thank you, Craig.
You bet. And Stu,
Yes, sir.
I will get you the smoked pheasants, okay?
You lying son of a bitch. You. Take care, buddy. Thanks.
Already, chewed on, but I'll get you a couple.
We'll stay in touch, Craig. Thanks for being my friend.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
You bet, buddy. Take care of yourself. I tell you what.
That's good. I tell you, they've got that deal like a lot of those places do. I know Wings North. Again, this is Wild Wings. And the confusion, Wild Wings, Wings North is owned by the Sun. So
Never been
Wild Wings. Yeah. I was up there, but they've got that deal that you can trade in a bird or two of yours, I think it is. You trade in two, and they'll give you back one smoked pheasant.
I think you you hunt in South Dakota all the time, and you got wonderful land out there. How did this land? This is a small parcels, but how did this compare to what you guys do in South Dakota?
It's laid out very well, very efficiently. It's all in feed strips out there that are easily blocked and run into each other. In other words, if you start on one area, you're running the birds into their areas that you can, so you can kind of hunt it systematically.
Yeah.
But they've got a great setup out there. the layout, the land, the way the food plots. They've got some grass, they've got some sorghum, they've got some corn strips, a little bit of everything. It's a great setup up there.
Well, they got a nice building, a nice restaurant.
Yeah, the difference obviously being wild birds as opposed to pen raised birds. But as far as the habitat, the hunting land itself, it's top notch.
What's next, Mark? You're the producer, pal.
Well, I think we're going to have Tanner Cherney on from Devil's Lake Tourism. And, guys, we're not only going to be chatting Devil's Lake, but Tanner just got back from about 7 to 10 days chasing elk out in Colorado, too.
Outstanding.
So we've got another bonus to
See
talk
what that
about.
young man's been
Tanner.
up to.
And timing is everything because I love elk. And Tanner, I'm going to sweet talk Tanner to give him a couple packages when we get up to Devil's Lake next month.
I'm going to hang on to one of those ropes.
Here we go.
Dun, dun, dun.
A guy walks into a bar. Hey, I can.
But it's not...
Tanner, you can't talk yet. I'm telling a joke. Come on, pal. Not supposed to answer to the seventh ring. Just kidding.
I think he's already hung up on us.
Sorry about that. It's true.
That's right. Buddy.
Wanted to talk to you about a timeshare tonight, if you've got a couple of minutes.
Tanner, what's new, buddy?
Just organizing all my hunting stuff from this fall right now.
Yeah?
Getting in ice fishing gear right now. Getting mode going for that.
Yeah. Tanner, before we jump in to talk Devil's Lake with you and what's been going on out there, let's spend a couple minutes. You went on a little field trip with your dad out west, didn't you?
I did. I sure did. We went out to Montana. We got back a little over about a week ago. Spent 6 days out in the mountains out there.
Nice.
It was a hunt of a lifetime.
Yeah, you bet. Whereabouts in Montana?
It was in Heron, Montana, which, as the crow flies, probably 2.5 hours northwest of Missoula.
Okay.
Like literally a mile from the Idaho border.
Yeah, you're way up there.
Yeah, it was a 16-hour drive from Devil's Lake.
And were you just an elk tag or a combo or a triple?
It was a combo tag, so we were good for an elk, or if we stumbled across a mule deer or a whitetail out there, we had the opportunity at that too. But mainly we're pursuing the elk.
Are you going to make us ask?
No, I can make some pretty good tag soup.
Yeah. I got it. Well, was it a guided hunt?
It was, it was our first time ever going on an elk hunt, and we're like, we have no clue what we're doing. We've always dreamed about doing this, so instead of catching ourselves with our pants down out there and shooting one and not knowing what to do, we're like, let's just take a guide. We can learn from him, kind of learn the ropes of the trade there, and which we were very fortunate we were because the weather was terrible. It was a 6-day hunt. First 3 days, it was about torrential rains. You know how it goes when you guys come up here. It's always the weather that makes it miserable.
And big game in the mountains with torrential downpours. It's all in there. I mean, you're just kind of hoping you stumble into one. Everything is in their favor. The scent, being able to get around in the conditions. You're really, as my dad would say it, screwed. We're screwed today, because we'd be out there in some Montana hunts and it would start raining like that. And he goes, well, we're going out. We're going to get wet. He goes, but we're going to have to get lucky today.
Oh, exactly. I mean, our whole game plan going into it was you get up in the morning at first light, get out and glass the mountainside and kind of try to find where they're coming out and grazing at and pick out a bull or something that you would be interested in pursuing. But with the rain and everything in the morning, it made it tough to be able to see at first light. And then on top of that, we had some fog. So instead of being able to do that and waiting till noon till it all cleared and then having only 4 or 5 hours to spot something and then try to make an attack, we just walked in on a forest trail that was cleared off and then basically hop down off the benches of the mountain and just start going in about 7 miles down off the trail and getting on elk trail, kind of like back here where you see all the deer trails going through the trees and just basically heading off on that and seeing and hoping that you can stumble across something, which on day 3 we actually did. We were coming over one mountainside and all of a sudden the guide just dropped to his knees and said, you better get one in the chamber. I can smell the elk. And all of a sudden we creep over this little draw and all of a sudden 15 yards away, big old cow elk stands up and I just start shaking and losing control right there.
Cow fever.
It was not buck fever, cow fever.
Yeah. Did you guys get it?
No, well, we couldn't shoot it in that unit we were at.
Oh, you guys didn't have a cow tag?
Yeah, it was just a bull that we could shoot and couldn't be a spike. So, but it was still fun in itself that way.
Tanner, you talked about walking down a trail 7 miles and that your game plan changed a little bit with the weather in the woods. Now, I know you had been in training and your pops had been in training for a couple months before you went out there, and you had told me an interesting fact about, tell our listeners and the crew here, how many miles did you guys walk those last few days?
Well, on the 6-day hunt, there was only one day we had to sit in a blind all day because of the rain. But so we went out 5 days and pushed hard for 5 days, and we walked 62 miles, or hiked 62 miles, I should say.
Wow. Yeah, and this isn't, a walk around the lake on the pavement, or
No, it's
down
not
the
flatland,
sidewalk.
North Dakota, South Dakota kind of stuff.
No, you've got some elevation out there and some rough footing. That's double tough. I remember going on some, and we would always sit down with our topography map, and where were you? Where'd you get lost?
Yeah.
Where'd you find the trail again? And you'd sit there and go, geez, I think I covered 20 miles today. 62, I've never come close. That's mind-boggling. I think I would have laid down for the night.
Hey, Tanner, did your camp
Oh,
did your camp stay at the same place the entire 6 days, or did you move camp?
No, we stayed at the same camp. So we ended up having a base camp right out probably 20 miles from the mountain where we were starting to hike in at. So it stayed the same every day, but we kind of mixed it up, and one day we'd go this way, the next day we went a different way, until the last day we had been pushing this one spot pretty hard, and another guide was like, there's a big 6x6 in there,
Ooh.
and another Raghorn 5, and he's like, you better keep going after it in there, and
Yeah.
we just couldn't close the deal.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Well,
we wouldn't trade it for anything.
You're in their neck of the woods, and, we're going to transition here, but, and also for a guide, when you get somebody out there and you know that the money they're paying and they're out there for a lifetime hunt, and it's a big deal for them. The guides really hate that too when they can't get
They
you on,
have to, yeah.
and the weather works against you. But Tanner, all right, well, we got the bad news out of the way, and but congratulations for getting out there and hunting, and you'll get back out there again and get that big bull for the wall. But let's talk about Devil's Lake. It's a fantastic time of the year up there. It always is at Devil's Lake, but you guys have everything's kind of happening up there right now. You got your waterfowl. There's still great open water fishing. Go.
There is. I mean, right now it's unreal. I mean, usually right now we're getting close to early ice, being able to walk out here in a couple of weeks, but the fall has been unseasonably warm, so the fall fishing has been fantastic. I've been talking with quite a few people after I got back just to kind of get my bearings straight on how the bite's been while I was gone, and apparently the bridges are still hot as they've been all fall. A lot of people just sitting off the bridges, jigging, or going to the rock piles that are sunk out there, vertically jigging them as well. Some people are still trolling, but the other thing, like you said, the waterfall. The snow geese have just moved in the last week.
See,
We were out chasing some pheasants on Saturday, and I wouldn't lie if I said we found 4 fields with probably 10,000 snow geese in each field.
good Lord.
Wow.
And the duck migration, I know the greenies have been hitting South Dakota along the North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota border over there. The migration has really been popping over there. Now you're talking about the snow geese coming in. Do you guys get a lot of hunters up there? Because, there's some great spots in South Dakota, Minnesota. We've got all of our water over here, and we like to, we think we do pretty good with our waterfowl. Do you get a lot of guys and gals that come into Devil's Lake for the waterfowl hunting?
We actually do, and this last 2 years have been, it seems like the busiest 2 years I've seen since I've been born up here. But, yeah, we get a lot of people coming up here from, especially Minnesota and Wisconsin, because it's, not very similar to South Dakota. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump across the border to get here. Out-of-state licenses are actually fairly reasonable. But Boomer got to experience back in October, one of the cool things about here is the cast and blast adventure, where you can go out in the morning and chase your ducks, and if you're lucky enough and you're done by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, got your boat with, or if you have didn't bring your boat and you hire a guide, you can head out on the water after lunch and try to chase down your limit of walleyes and get a little double dip in for the day.
Well, back home, we used to have a thing called bucks and birds. You'd hunt the bucks in the morning. Then at the midday, when you took that little break, you'd grab the shotgun and go walk some of the feeder strips, and then we're back out again in the evening for the bucks. But I love that. What's it called again? that Boomer was up there for?
Cast and Blast.
Cast and Blast. And
Cast
cool.
and Blast.
he was on point too, man. We went out there and we had a hoot with Tanner and his dad. We shot our limit of greenies out there. It was a beautiful day in the field. We went out in the Alumacraft, got a nice handful of walleyes. Now, Tanner, when we were talking about a week ago, you said when those snow geese, if you're still looking for a place to hunt, Tanner, I need you to tell our listeners, how late does the season go for waterfowl out there in Devils? And it's not over if you still want to get out there, because Tanner told me when the snow geese get in town, the big northern greenheads, the 2 curls and the 3 curls follow right after, don't they, buddy?
They do. And I don't have it off the top of my head, but I want to say it's like December 5th, around there is about the last few days for waterfowl season up here. So you still got a good 3 weeks if you want to get up here and do some duck hunting. Last year at this time, everything was starting to freeze up, and we were still hunting mallards like crazy. So with all the open water, I don't foresee a reason why you couldn't be up here in the next 2 weeks and still be on birds.
No, the cool
Especially with the lake here.
Yeah.
I mean, it stays open pretty good with the amount of water that's out here, that there's always going to be a good concentration of birds within like a 20-mile radius of Devil's Lake, because they're going to have that water available to them when things start freezing up.
And I tell you what, Tanner, I know we only got a couple minutes left with you, but let's talk a little bit about ice fishing, because when you talk ice fishing, Devil's Lake usually comes up because it's known for those big perch and big walleyes. What's it looking like up there right now? What are the reports saying on the perch and the walleyes?
You know, they did their fall netting numbers and everything's looking right on average, right on par. It's going to be a good year. It all depends on the weather, but I think it's just going to be another year like it has been for the last 3 years. I mean, you get out there, put your effort in, make sure you're doing all the bumping and running, filling holes, moving around. You're going to be able to pull your perch in.
And I tell you,
I don't see it being any different than the last couple of years with numbers-wise.
And I tell you what, there's plenty of great lodging in Devil's Lake. There's all types of places that you can stay. There's great restaurants up there. Tanner, it's about time, right? People better start booking, because those guides start to fill up right now, and the resorts are going to start filling up, don't you think?
Yes, I was just actually talking to a couple of guides here this last week, and they're already pretty well booked from basically when you and Stu are going to be coming up in December. From then on till the first of the year, they don't have any openings. So it's kind of like now is the time, if you're thinking of planning your trip up to Devil's Lake, start calling the different guides up here, the different lodging places. It's a perfect time to get openings in. It's a great time of the year.
Well, that's it. We're wrapping it up. I was, I was just thinking about
Big jumbo perch.
Actually, I was thinking about snow geese, but we all, that's the nice thing about Devil's Lake. You can think about a variety of things. Tanner, thanks a lot, buddy. We're going to talk to you again soon for joining us here on the 4 Outdoorsmen tonight, buddy.
Thanks again, guys.
All right,
Thanks
thanks a lot.
Tanner.
Take care, buddy.
That's a wrap. Another week. It flies by. I want to thank Robert Hawkins, Bob Mitchell's Fly Store over in Lake Elmo, BobMitchell'sFlyShop.com. If you want to get over there, it's still a year away from getting the big world record mounted up in there. They're getting a replica done. I want to thank Coors Light, our sponsor tonight, for fueling the show and making it go by so quickly. Boys and girls. Oh, and of course, Craig Munson and Wild Wings. Thank you for being a great spot to hunt this past week.
Have a great week, everybody.
Stay safe.
You bet.